And we are live. We're back. Free agency is underway. The draft is around the corner. Everybody feels like their team is going to the Super Bowl. Uh,
Only this
and
guy thinks that.
yeah,
Shouldn't
and
even.
the moves have been aplenty, and things are starting to like get back into season for us. So that's great news for us. Obviously, we're going to talk a lot about the signings. Before we jump in, let's just little shout out to Liam for getting our microphone situation sorted out. New microphones.
Shout out.
Also, while we're shouting out, we might as well shout out all of our great sponsors. We finally got them up onto the TV. Our technology issues are over and in the past. And I think that's probably an okay way to start, where if there was a team that had some quarterback issues, those might be in the past now, because a few teams change quarterbacks. Everybody leads off with quarterbacks. First, the biggest news is Kirk Cousins.
You want to say that Josh is here?
Which everyone sees
Yeah.
Josh.
I'm just making sure.
Anybody online can see Josh is here.
Yeah, Josh is right over there.
By the way, guys, Josh is here.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to
Figured
fan
out
base.
because you heard me talking all that smack about this helmet being up here on the bar all the time. I keep saying let's switch it out for the gold.
You need
That one has a nice CCH
that-
logo on it. It's fine.
Oh, yeah.
CCH has been on our show. They got a presence.
blue and
Alright.
white. Blue and white. Turn me up.
They win more games in a season than these guys won in a decade.
It's about the image.
It's not true, but it's close. It's close. But yeah, forget about high school football in our local little region here. Kirk Cousins goes to the Falcons. Obviously, Chad and I have a running joke that Kirk Cousins' agent should be doing every single job for every single person in the world. That guy is the best salesperson in the entire world. Gets him another somewhat guaranteed contract. I believe it's another 100 mil, right?
100 million with a 50 signing bonus, so 150 almost.
Right. So he gets a nice big chunk of guaranteed money. I think that, we talked a little bit, it might have been before you got here. I think this puts the Falcons into contention for the division. I mean, not like they weren't in it last year with guys like Desmond Ritter, but the other teams around didn't get significantly better, and I think that the Falcons did.
Like I can honestly say, like the Bucks were the best team at 9-7.
Yeah.
So like it's not hard to like stay in contention in that division. But like of all the teams in that division outside of Tampa, the
Someone said hi to you, Kayla.
Falcons are the only ones that can get there. The Saints are horrible. The Panthers, they might as well just go down to D2.
Yeah. Panthers are pretty bad. But I don't know. I guess
So
if you're
funny.
talking. What? What's so
What's so funny? I don't know.
I
Everybody's
said
laughing.
someone says hi to you, Kayla, and you didn't even say hi back.
Oh,
Yeah.
hi. Sorry.
What a
I didn't want to cut him off. He was
what
talking
a
there.
dick you are.
Well, I thought he was going to get a lot more heated there because I felt like Tampa's, in my opinion, is still the team to beat. Like, I know that you guys lost a couple players there
On defense.
Yeah, on
like,
defense.
Most of their defense.
But like, yeah, but the boys are back in town. Like the offensive side of the ball is all going to be there.
We can't stop anybody though. That's really concerning to me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Who's going to be the second corner? Who's going to play the second safety? Who's their middle
Yeah,
linebacker without Devin White? I mean, I get it. They have another guy in place, but
Lost their rush end.
I get the Saints have like an okay defense. Now they picked up Chase Young. It's a little bit better for sure. But like, who's Atlanta going to stop? Right? Who's Carolina going to stop?
Atlanta was a top 10 defense last year.
I'm not buying it this year. Not happening. No.
Well, they still have to play the world's worst division offensively, so.
Yeah. Yeah, but your offense, I think, is the team that can put up 35 points and have 28 scored, and they're still going to win. That's why I think
So
you
you
guys
think
should show-
Baker can put up 35 points?
I think with a
Can
returning
you say that into the microphone?
into a confident returning Michael Evans who has a new contract, and then Godwin being as good as he is, I don't understand why you guys couldn't do
Would you say he is better than Daniel Jones?
that. Bringing up Danny Dimes from 3 years ago.
Hey,
But I would say
keeping
that,
receipts here.
who are kicking
I wanna hear the
tires on
answer
these
here.
quarterbacks in the draft?
yeah, here's what I will say about Baker, how I feel about him is that I think he came in a gunslinger, but I think now he's turned more into a game manager than what he was before. He's still going to take some shots, but he's still going to. I think he tucks the ball and runs more now than trying to throw that ball over the middle like a piss missile.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
When you're
Well-
6 feet tall, you got to be a bit smarter.
And they have a better offense that they're running, which you lost your offensive coordinator too, right?
He's the head coach of the Panthers.
Yeah, exactly. So,
That was
there's,
a demotion, if you ask me.
there's a lot of change happening there. So it doesn't mean that Atlanta jumps over them, but it definitely doesn't mean that the Bucks have a clear path to the playoffs, which they have the last 3 years. I don't think that the Saints are very good. They're paying Derek Carr a lot of money. The Falcons have always had the weapons around there, plus the second year of Robinson. Raheem Morris is a guy that I would say I have a lot of faith in. He's not an offensive coach, You don't need an offensive coach if you're going to bring in a quarterback like that. So I would say definitely the Falcons have put themselves back into contention, and they hold a pretty high draft pick to also like continue to bolster it. They haven't been shy about spending money. I would be worried if I was in Chad's shoes.
I really want to know though, did Kyle Pitts only ask for targets and no money for his number?
I hope so. That'd be
That is
amazing.
phenomenal.
I mean, Kirk Cousins has lots of money. He could probably give it. He probably could have given him like $30 million for it.
Changing numbers too, right? That's crazy. Like 18. I don't know if I like that.
So he didn't get Kyle Pitts' number.
No, no. If Pitts just keep it, he's going number 18 now.
I like that for the fans.
I do too. It's just the guy who's worn single digit his whole career to then jump to the double digits is strange.
Well, he has $100 million. He can do whatever he wants.
Do whatever
Maybe
he
he
wants.
needs
He
to
can buy.
change it.
He can buy all of his jerseys.
And I will openly say, I know you've always been a fan of him because I always when he went to college, but I will openly say, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that grew on Kirk Cousins as seeing him through that Netflix series. The guy's just a down to earth homie.
I
And
will
he's a
admit-
Spartan dog.
Yeah. That's why I said I know you liked it because
Yeah.
of
There's a
college. Right?
lonely shrine to him in that one back room. That's pretty sad.
Yeah, I mean,
He's like, I'm saving the shelf for my Super Bowl. Oh,
well, hey, you never.
You don't
He's
need
in contention now, according to Shane, right?
Well, they're going to get into the playoffs, and that's all you need to be.
Mhm.
I don't know if I mean the NFC hasn't really been in contention with the except. I mean, I did think the 49ers are going to win, but the AFC has kind of like run show here for a little bit.
It'd be interesting with Cousins there because I do think too, if you're looking like obviously their defense, you touched on it, like they were top 10. They still do need a few playmakers there, but do you have to add like like a number one receiver like he had in Minnesota with Justin Jefferson? Like is Drake London really that number one that they're listing him as? I don't think so. Just from watching him play, like I just don't believe like I think he's a solid number two, like a strong number two. So if they can find a guy like
But
in the draft at
I think
for number
Kyle
one,
Pitts is like that guy.
He was for 2 years.
Yeah.
And then they changed coaches to Arthur Smith, and Arthur Smith forced him into a tight end again for some stupid reason.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
now he's going to be able to free run again, I
It-
think, because who is the OC in Atlanta now? I can't remember. Who is it?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
with Kyle Pitts, it's a consistency thing. So
Like-
if he can produce consistently, I agree.
Like, I'm not
But-
saying he's like Travis Kelce, like
No.
that kind, but like he can get 70, 80 catches.
Who's Marcus Colston? The best comparison. And I don't even like if that name rings a
Yeah.
bell for you or not. Is,
Saints.
yeah. Like that guy was a tight end, became a wide receiver, and was more wide receiver. Like that was, but I think that's the direction that Kyle Pitts should have taken his career
Yeah,
versus what happened to him when Arthur Smith got there.
yeah, and you know what? They haven't used a whole lot of the guys there, and I think that's what happens when you get an offensive coach in there. You don't need like the big name weapons. You just need guys that can make plays for you. And a guy like Arthur Smith, who he coached the Titans for a long time. I'm about to experience the Arthur Smith years in Pittsburgh with there's been a lot of things that have been shaken up there, and we're gonna have a lot of Steelers talk here in a sec. But you can't fault the player for not getting used correctly. I think
No.
Drake London is the kind of guy that can get open all the time. He's I would say he's on a level playing field with like Michael Pittman,
Yep.
who just got a decent contract from the Colts. That's the skill level I put him at. He's probably a number one because he has a quarterback like Kirk Cousins to make him a number one. They need to make sure that they solidify who else is going to be around there. I know that they were sniffing around Tyler Boyd, but from everything I've seen, Tyler Boyd also is looking at the Chiefs and the Steelers and a few other like random teams. So he hasn't locked in yet.
Well, no wide receivers really are, I think, right now. This is the
No.
deepest wide receiver draft in probably like 8 years.
Yeah, well, and unless you
Would
were
you
one of
pay a
the,
receiver if you can draft one for half the price?
yeah, and unless you were one of the big name receivers, like it seemed like Ridley was one of those big name receivers, he came off the board. And outside of that, like the guys like the Mike Williams who got cut, who aren't even supposed to be out there, and Tyler Boyd, those are the guys that fall next or after the draft. 'Cause that would be the worst case scenario. You don't want to sign somewhere and then
They draft a receiver over top.
yeah, exactly, right?
Did T Higgins just get franchised? That's it.
Non-exclusive, I think. So they could trade him.
Someone
but-
could go get him.
Yeah.
That won't get
Right.
done until training camp, though.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, I don't see that one happening. You're right until the summer. That means they're probably trading for draft picks next year or the year after, depending on how deep you can get into that. But if you're looking for a guy like T Higgins, you're not paying him what Calvin Ridley got,
No.
and Jamar Chase is getting paid this summer. You're not paying him what Jamar Chase got. You're not going to pay. Obviously, you're not paying him Justin Jefferson money. Like, where does he even fall as far as that go? And Kelly asked the question about the Steelers quarterback situation, which I promise we'll circle back to. Trust me, we won't forget. So like if you're T Higgins and you're about to get traded somewhere, like and you're the team, how much are you paying this guy, and what are you even willing to give up for this guy?
Like he's getting capped at 20, right? Like he's not going over 20.
I don't think so. I mean, I probably wouldn't go over 15. But that's unrealistic.
Ridley just got 22. He had similar numbers, and T. Higgins is 5 inches
I don't want to
taller.
talk about.
And
I don't want to talk about Calvin Ridley. Okay.
you said you don't?
No.
No. Okay. I'm just.
It cost me a fucking fantasy football championship.
And there's your first shot of the evening, then, folks. But yeah, if he gets that number, then a guy who's got 5 inches on him, who is no more of a possession catching wide receiver, should
Why are
certainly
we fucking children?
get a few more.
Yeah, no. I honestly don't even know who's going to step up and trade for him because if you're Cincinnati, you're not trading him to the Chiefs. Nor
He's
do I
going
think.
nowhere in the AFC.
Yeah. So you look on the other side and you start to like piece things together. The reason that the conversation was kind of tying together for me is maybe T Higgins goes to a place like Atlanta because
Could
they
be.
they have picks. They are in need of somebody to pair with Drake London, which they're like 1A, 1B basically by default. And then you get a half decent slot guy in there. You get Kyle Pitts running around. You have a decent running back. You have a guy like Kirk Cousins who,
I think Bijan is better than a decent running back.
well, whatever.
They got Bijan and a leaguer, so like that's a two-headed monster as well.
Yeah, decent. Yeah, decent in his production so far. I wouldn't say that he had an elite rookie season, but I agree that he's a great talent. But I mean, he also got benched for a couple games for not trying hard enough for Arthur Smith. So
So the team that I say to watch out for, and they're also a team that's high up to be taking a wide receiver.
Tennessee.
No,
Definitely Tennessee.
Arizona.
They're on the up.
Arizona.
Oh, yeah,
The
yeah.
reason I say Arizona is because, again, you can trade back. I think that Arizona has a lot of pieces to fill. Offensively, they've got some good spots there, but I think that the places they need to fill are on defense, which you always can get in the later round of the first. So you trade down, you still get T. Higgins if T. Higgins is involved in that first round pick. I'm just basing that off the AJ Brown kind of trade, right? Like I don't think
Yeah.
he's AJ Brown-esque, but I mean that's kind of what people are going to ask for. So anyway, you trade down, you recoup, you stay in the first, you grab your defensive player, and you get your wide out for Kyler Murray, who he's really needed was even AJ Green when he was on his last legs there,
Yeah,
he still played well. He was a possession receiver, and that's if you get T. Higgins there, I think it's a perfect fit for them, and they can solve a few problems.
Yeah, they needed somebody better than Hollywood Brown there,
Mhm.
and Hollywood Brown has moved. I think he got 11 million to go play in Kansas City or
Yeah,
something silly
KC.
like that. But yeah, I mean that makes sense, and you would think that would that mean that they're skipping receiver in the draft?
I think you have to take a look at are you going to take the risk? And we've all seen wide receivers that don't pan out. Are you going to take the risk on Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr., which I still think is a generational talent, or do you know what you're getting out of T. Higgins, and you can still recoup, stay in the first, and pick up whatever else you need on defense, or even an offensive line, because offensive line in this draft is very deep too.
Marvin
And they need help
Harrison
there.
or Justin Jefferson? Like better career stats at the end of their career.
Oh, I haven't seen him against NFL competition yet, so I don't
But
know.
you're willing to call him a generational talent.
Yeah,
Okay. But he won't even be the generation of or the talent of his generation.
I
I'm just saying. Just saying.
I'm pegging him as a generational talent the same way that anybody would peg a person coming out of college, but it's get off me.
Just just absolutely stupid. We're too stupid. I agree.
We've missed each other.
Let's
We've missed you, Kalen.
I hear that. Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't been all getting together enough. Nelly's asking about the Steelers quarterback situation. It's been a pretty wild, I'd say, 2.5 weeks as far as the Steelers go. Not Mitchell Trubisky, no surprise. You get the rumors circulating about Russ and how Russ is going to come in and compete with Kenny Pickett. Cool. They bring him in. Kenny Pickett throws a hissy fit. They ship him out of town. Get way too much from him, in my opinion. But I mean, that is the comparable trade. I guess that's what the Sam Darnold trade looked like, and I couldn't picture it. But you essentially flipped a third for a fourth, and you got 2 7s. That's not.
You shit them out for far too much. Like you guys made out as bandits in that deal.
I think if not, it was an even trade. I think that it should have cost us more to give him up that quickly. But that's my
You guys
opinion.
got a lot for what they're going to value as a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
The fall from grace for you with that guy, eh?
Oh, I have no. I still was fine with him staying, and I actually thought that he could have competed, and next year he probably would have still been the starter for the Steelers. But when you throw a hissy fit, the organization doesn't deal with that shit.
13 touchdowns in 2 years.
Well, I'm not even
Plus a
worried
hissy
about that.
fit.
Yeah, look, like the offensive coordinator was shit. Ben Roethlisberger's like worst statistical season was also under Matt Canada, so I'm not as worried about like his touchdown production. I'm more worried about his reaction to somebody saying that they're going to compete with him.
Well,
But like, I do think it's phenomenal they sent him to a team where he's never going to start.
Yeah.
that's not true.
You think he's going to start over Jalen Hurts?
I'm not saying never going to start. I'm just saying he may have the opportunity to start. There's two things about that. One, I still don't buy Jalen Hurts as a quarterback. I buy him as a running quarterback the same way that I would buy Justin Fields as a running quarterback.
Take a deep breath.
I don't know
Okay,
about that.
but secondly, as a running quarterback, he's going to take hits. He's
Yeah.
going to get injured. There's going to be an opportunity, I think, for Kenny Pickett to play at some point.
Week 18.
Maybe that's it, right?
Maybe
But
17 they clinch early.
or maybe they're up 30 points on somebody and he
Look-
gets in the game, right?
For Kenny Pickett, I would say I hope that he goes there and Sirianni finds a way to
Maybe give him some swagger because he
Get
has
him
too
some-
much.
get him some confidence back a little bit, and then he probably ends up on a like he's never going to be the starting day one quarterback because he beat out Jalen Hurts. He might be because Jalen Hurts blew out his knee in the preseason, but overall, they like the offense in Philly isn't set up for Kenny Pickett to succeed. You think they're going to do the tush push with him?
They're built different.
I don't.
And that brings me to your Steelers quarterback and Arthur Smith's offense. I'm very interested to see how that's going to work when you got a guy whose offense is completely based around intermediate throws over the middle
Yep.
80% of the time and running the ball between the tackles pretty hard, and you got two quarterbacks who can't throw over the middle very well anymore.
Yeah, and that is definitely like a concern that's out there. They have viable options that can go across the middle. Does that mean just because someone's open and the quarterback's not looking, does that mean they're going to throw it? I don't, but I think that a guy like Russell Wilson, and I would say right now Russell Wilson is the starter. I don't think that he is automatically the starter day one, but he goes into training camp the starter.
It's his
But-
job to lose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but if if Russell Wilson starts chucking it in the air to
We're
Yeah.
gonna have to break Kelly's heart, let her know
Yeah.
that he's not there.
Mason's not there anymore.
Mason's not there anymore. He's over
He's-
the Titans now.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's gonna probably start for Will Levis.
Yeah.
Shut your mouth.
But yeah, if he can get the ball over the top to a guy like Pickens every once in a while, they brought in Jefferson to do some blocking.
How's he gonna get over the top, Shane?
How is he going to get over the top?
Say Chad's favorite word.
Oh, Chad loves the moonshot.
Yeah, the moonshots, baby.
But there's
He doesn't
also
have an arm anymore. They're not there. Don't worry.
there's
Fucking wounded
also
duck.
the main reason is not because of like throwing it over the middle or any of that kind of stuff, because Pickett didn't throw it over the middle either. It's when you get inside the red zone, both those quarterbacks know how to score.
Yeah.
And that was exactly our problem the last 2 years is we get into the red zone and we kick a field goal, or we get into the red zone and we go for it on fourth and turn the ball over. And
My worry there is, just from watching when he was the OC of Tennessee, we always score from outside the red zone from Derrick Henry or from AJ Brown taking a big strike or Derrick getting that 25-yard run or whatever. It was inside the red zone that he got funky with the ball and trick plays and shit. We used to always complain about that as Titans fans. So hopefully it doesn't trickle over there. I'm sure Arthur Smith in his second go. I trust him as an OC. I'm excited for you to have him because I think he's a fantastic offensive coordinator and he's going to unlock your tight ends, which I think is typical Steelers football if you got good tight ends there.
they
So
do. So they got Fryermuth and they got Darnell Washington from Georgia, who
An
is
animal.
more of like a sixth tackle, but a sixth tackle that can catch and has athleticism. It's
Yeah.
scary.
That guy gets 35 catches. He's having a great year.
He has 35 catches, 8 of them might be for touchdowns. He might be the fantasy player of the year.
You remember Hakeem Nicks when like fantasy football first started? He had like 50 catches and 14 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Good ratio there.
Yeah.
Touchdowns to receptions.
So yeah, so then, like we're in the middle of that. The Russell Wilson thing happens. Mason Rudolph goes elsewhere. Kenny Pickett goes to the Eagles. And then out of nowhere, and I kind of expected this to happen, but out of nowhere, the Bears pull down their pants and just let the Steelers have their way with them once again. And that trade is so humiliating to be and the Bears front office came out and said that they wanted that trade for Justin. That's why they took less. Do you guys believe that? It's like there's no way that you could do that, right?
I don't think so.
They apparently had 2 better offers than what that was, but they wanted to send him somewhere that he could actually learn, and they thought Mike Tomlin scouted him like coming out of college, and he's got a big connection to Ohio State. So I don't know.
I
Is it bullshit?
I think it is just based on the fact like if these offers were coming from let's say the Vikings like we talked about earlier,
Yeah.
you're not trading them in division even if they're offering you a third or fourth round pick. You're not putting him in a situation where now he could literally be your kryptonite for however many years.
But if
He's
you
still
think he's
so
gonna
young.
be that good, like why would you trade him at all?
I that's what I mean. I don't think they should have traded him. I've been telling people, listen, like I'm not even a Bears fan. I'm not a total Justin Fields fan, but I
All
think
right. We have to
situation
just
wise,
pause you for a quick second and just say hi to all the fine folks at Buffalo Wild Wings down there in Oklahoma.
Wild Wings, Oklahoma.
Chad,
It must be wing night.
give them a quick swear so that they can have a shot.
Oh, it's definitely time to have a fucking shot.
There you go.
Because what else you do at Buffalo Wild Wings on a fucking Monday night?
There we
There's
go.
2 shots for you.
Jackpot. But yeah, so go ahead.
What I was going to say, was it better? Was there better offers? This offer was a very low offer
Yes.
to begin with. So was the better offer a 5th round pick or a 4th round pick instead of the 5th? Like,
They
was
got
it,
a sixth that can turn into a fourth if he plays 51% of the snaps.
that's what I
So
mean. So
what-
was it 50 at 48%? It becomes the
What
4th. Like
teams do we think made this offer?
I would say that the Vikings would be one.
Mhm.
Seattle.
I actually think that the other one was made by like a team like the Raiders.
I thought Atlanta was like
Just
the
a bad
main-
situation for him. Yeah,
like,
Atlanta would make
Atlanta made
sense.
the most sense to me at first. Like he's from Georgia. He was on their draft radar when they were drafting.
Like this is a guy that like has the ability or all the ability in the world.
He did go to the Pro Bowl 2 years ago, did he not? 1 year ago.
I think so. And right, he was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school, went to Georgia. Things didn't work out in Georgia, and I was trying to rack my who was the quarterback that bounced him?
Was it Daniels or no? It wasn't. It was
It wouldn't have been Stenson Bennett, would it?
No, it was the guy before him.
Ellie will know. She'll let us know in a sec. Yeah, whoever that guy that came in, obviously had Justin Fields leave to go to Ohio State, which
it was Jake Fromm.
Yeah.
yeah,
It was
okay,
Jake
yeah,
Fromm.
exactly, yeah.
Jake Fromm.
Who?
He went to the NFL for a
Yeah,
couple.
he
Yeah.
played as a backup on the Bills for a little bit.
But then you go to Ohio State and you
He
play.
dropped an N ball on Twitter and it came back and bit him in the ass.
Yes.
2013 was a wild year for Jake Fromm. I think he was 12.
You go to Ohio State, and not many quarterbacks are successful coming out of Ohio State. However, C.J. Stroud obviously has proved a lot of people wrong on that. And then you go to a team like the Bears, and they only decide to really spend money to bring people around you your last year and the year that they trade you. So now your stats weren't awful last year. Right now, Bears fans are holding their hat and saying, "Oh, but his fourth quarter stats are bad," which yeah, your fourth quarter stats are probably bad because you're losing every fucking game. What difference does it make? I actually think that Justin Fields will be the starter by the end of the season. He could actually be the game one starter, but if it's 2025, it might be like the first time ever a team wins the Super Bowl and lets their quarterback walk in free agency because they have somebody sitting out there.
I think he's an alternate. I didn't know he actually got one if he's just an alternate.
Yeah.
I do think too, on your point of the fourth quarter stats thing, he was I've watched them play the
Oh,
Lions in those
so
games.
the answer to Kelly's question is the person that left Ohio State for Justin Fields was
Joe Burrow.
That's correct.
Oh, Joe Burrow, yeah. But
Good question, Kelly. I like that.
Fields wise, like the fourth quarter stuff, he was also if you watch the games, like he was just so beaten down and tired from getting sacked. Like he got sacked a ton when he was in
He ran
Chicago.
for his
They're
life, man.
Yeah. So he's literally out there like I mean, he's a professional athlete. He shouldn't be tired, but when you're getting hit that hard and that many times, at some point your body just gives and those teams that are better just can outwill you.
Yeah.
And that's where I think a lot of it came from. So I wouldn't worry too much about that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
Yeah, but do you extend him this year, or do you have to? How's that have to work out?
they could pick up his fifth-year option by May. It's $25 million.
So
They're not going to do that.
You don't think so?
No,
They already said they were not. Already came out with that.
It's too much money for a guy that you just basically stole from Chicago. I think that Fields wanted to be there. I think Fields likes the opportunity of being there. The only way I don't think that he comes back is if they get Russell Wilson and sign him to like a 4-year deal. I think that there's a good chance that he doesn't come back.
Man, what are you watching over there?
Oh, sorry, it's just my back facing.
Oh.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like I think that both of those quarterbacks will be on the roster next year, and probably Justin Fields will be an opportunity to take over as the next quarterback for the Steelers because they just don't have the opportunity to go back in the draft right now. What they have is an amazing defense, an average O line, and a good enough run game to get them into playoff games. They just need a quarterback that can make unique plays. And I think both those guys are capable of doing that. Just depends on which one of them is going to be out there.
It's gonna be a weird season with all these QBs on the move. You're gonna have to like reset your TV to remember who's playing where and
I
make
got
sure
my
you're
guy. I'm happy.
yeah.
Yeah, you guys spent some money, but you kept everybody in house. That's nice. And
We got a discount on the starting quarterback.
Kalen sat here nice and quietly, so maybe we should give him the opportunity.
What?
I was saying maybe you should have the opportunity to talk about your Tennessee Titans for a second because you were sitting here nice and quietly and
Yeah.
you didn't even get upset once. Well, maybe once.
Yes.
You yelled at Chad once.
Just I want to make sure that way I feel about Jalen Hurts is the same.
Oh,
way
that's
I
what it
feel
was.
about
Like, why is he mad again?
Justin Fields. Yeah, they're just he's a better runner.
Yeah. Yo, you got Oklahoma people on here, so I don't know
Yeah.
if you should be bad mouthing Jalen Hurts, but you keep going.
You know I'm a Texas guy.
I know.
Keep bad
He's a Bama kid, anyways. They can get upset all they want.
So, obviously heartbreaking to see Derrick Henry go to the Ravens. He's going to do well there, right? I mean, we know that that's going to be a
You know, they cut their whole O line. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, yeah, that was something that was kind of as I see this O line deteriorate after that signing is because you come from a team like Tennessee that had the worst offensive line in the history of football, maybe, and you go there and now all these guys are gone too. It's just kind of strange to see that. But nonetheless, he clearly is happy to be where he wanted to be anyway, and they were going to try and get him last year during the trade deadline, but it didn't happen. So
Personally, like, is that where he wanted to be, or is that the only team that was offering that size of contract?
it isn't even that much. Like when you look at what the other running backs around the league got, he really didn't get that much
Well,
money.
he's got more tread on the tires.
Yeah, yeah, he does. Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't seem that the difference was significant enough that it's like, oh, is did Tennessee not want to pay him that, or nobody else wanted to pay him that? I think that it came down to Derek from his interview when the Titans fired Vrabel.
Yeah.
He's just a very loyal guy, and I think that he had a team that last year at the trade deadline was this far away from trading for him, and he kind of said, you wanted me last year, I'm gonna go to you this year, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know who else would have been in the mix. I actually thought that he would be a Cowboy
That's what I thought.
because it just seemed to make sense, and it seemed like when Jerry Jones came out and said that they were going all in. I'm really not sure what that means yet because
He might have been a smokescreen.
are they still on the list of like one of the only teams that hasn't signed an outside free agent yet?
Yeah, I think them and Indy.
They
he
re-signed their
hadn't
long
signed.
snapper though.
Yeah, I was gonna say like the Saints finally brought in Chase Young.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand the fit there, but like whatever.
I don't get how they have
Cam
the money
Jordan,
to
he
sign
just-
anybody.
Yeah, I don't get that either. He wanted to play with Cam Jordan, I guess.
Well, yeah, and that's great, and I think it was just a 1 year deal, right? So it's
Yeah.
a 1 year
Yeah.
prove deal. So
Well,
that's
you won't get double teamed. It's that simple.
Mhm.
He looked good in San Francisco
He
because
experienced it.
he
there.
also had the guys getting double and triple teamed on him.
Yeah.
Also, we don't double and triple team. Can we just like salute Aaron Donald for his career?
Yeah.
As I saw like the pop up that he retired, I was like, I always knew he was good. And I always knew he was pretty dominant. I didn't realize looking like stat wise how dominant he was. I always thought he was a presence.
Mhm.
yeah,
And the only years he didn't get all pro were a year he didn't play all 16 games in his rookie. Every other season he played was a first team all pro.
And it was St. Louis that had no name. Like nobody cared about St. Louis back then, right?
right.
So yeah, definitely salute that guy. Crazy DT. Not like I think the closest like generational between him and the next one would have been what was that huge guy for Dallas? Super tall guy. They called him was it Fridge or whatever? I can't remember who he was, but he was fantastic.
Yeah,
yeah.
The French played in Chicago.
Chicago. I can't remember who the Dallas guy was anyway. So he was like 6'8".
We're not talking about DeMarcus Ware.
No, this is way back in the 80s.
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
All right, so we come back to Titans anyway. So Derek's gone, and then we replace him with Tony Pollard, right?
Which is you like that's not a reasonable replacement, but keep going.
Well, but I don't think that Tony Pollard is meant to be the stay. Like it's Tyjae Spears. I mentioned this guy last year, no ACLs, which is kind of nice.
But can he hold up?
I don't know.
He can't snap his knees. There's nothing left.
Yeah,
of him.
That's
so
true, yeah.
there's that. He took a few
It's-
pops last year and got back up. It was his rookie season, so you never know how the course of the season going to take on him, right? But
Right.
I don't think that he's somebody that's going to get hit a lot. Do you remember LaDainian Tomlinson getting hit a lot?
So this
Like-
guy is LaDainian Tomlinson.
I mean, shifty wise.
Okay.
Like you know, how there's certain players that just know how to get out of a big hit. Like they know how to
Okay,
take
yeah,
a hit, right?
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
And I think that that's the way.
I think he's safer to take it. He's blown both his ACLs. That's usually a non-contact thing.
Didn't blow them. He was never born with them.
Yeah.
They never develop. That's what I'm just referring in the sense that that he's a shifty running back that's going to take a big hit.
I don't even know how how do you grow up and be like,
No,
oh, my ACLs didn't grow in.
I don't know. It's strange. It is rather
I can't
strange.
believe that's a real thing, but I
Like he
learned
must have had
something
a knee
today, I
injury and they
guess.
went in there and like,
Yeah.
open up the other one. Huh. I guess you could see that in like an MRI. It doesn't have to be as like weird, but yeah.
I
So
think it's pretty weird though.
so Tony Pollard, gonna lead the league in rushing. Tajay Spears second. You guys also went out there and spent some money on a receiver.
Yeah. And no, we're trying to be
Levis is gonna get the-
rile me up for no reason over here.
Well,
Eh?
Tom Brady did say that Will Levis reminds
I
me
think
of
that
him.
Joe Mixon.
I don't know if you guys saw that.
I did see that. I was going to let you have that.
Well, it doesn't change my life. It's not my quarterback.
But
I got Baker. I'm a happy man over here.
I know you didn't like Joe Mixon. I didn't like Joe Mixon. That was a pretty basic running back. But
One of the kids in his neighborhood. He's mean to them.
if you were going to find a comparable player to Joe Mixon, Tony Pollard is pretty much it. Receiving running back, going to get you about 1,000 yards rushing. Isn't going to get 1,500 though, but
Hopefully a better character guy though.
yeah. Well, 300 yards receiving or so.
I think
so,
Joe Mixon's another Oklahoma guy,
Yes.
wasn't he?
Yes, he is. Yeah,
Yikes.
yeah.
We're really attacking the Oklahoma guys.
Well,
today.
they're all character there.
And then yes, wide receiver. Now this is something I'm excited about.
Yeah, you were talking about this the whole time. I actually thought you were bullshitting about it until it actually happened.
Yeah, so big signing, and you can definitely tell there's a regime change in Tennessee. And I'll say it, of course, the team's got to pay a little bit, right, to get a player to come to them. But you see DeAndre Hopkins taking a 2-year deal last year. He really only had to take a 1-year deal. He gives the team option. It wasn't even a player option. So he gives the team the team option. And this year you have Calvin Ridley. Tennessee outbids Jacksonville by a couple of $1 million, sure, but he chose to come to Tennessee. This is a wide receiver that chose to come to Tennessee back to back
Play
years.
with Tom Brady 2.0.
Stop, you jerk! But in
He's
Tennessee,
giving his flowers.
in Tennessee, we haven't you can't think of a wide receiver. Andre Johnson came in the last year of his career before he walked away from the game
Yeah.
to Tennessee. Receivers don't choose to come to Tennessee that have a name to them still, right? So
And you guys still got Hopkins, right?
yeah, he came last year on a 2-year deal, but he gave it a team option. Like, what kind of player usually says, "I'll give you the team option in the NFL"? That doesn't ever happen in the NFL. This is a
Yeah,
fifth
that's on
year.
his way out.
Well, he proved he's not. He broke 1,000 yards last year with a pretty shitty offensive line and circling quarterback carousel. So,
Yeah, well.
but yeah, Calvin Ridley, I think, is going to take the top off of some teams. He's a great route runner. I'm excited to see that in Tennessee because
Yeah, I thought that once too.
your fantasy hate is unwarranted.
Hey, I saw that training camp video, man. He looked pretty good.
He's the kind of guy that shows up for 40 points for your fantasy team in 1 week and then 0
Yeah.
the next week
Yeah.
But that being said,
on 0 targets.
how many mouths did you have to feed in Jacksonville? They
Yeah.
spent a lot of money. Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Evan Ingram.
If you can't
Travis
get targets over
Etienne.
Zay Jones, you suck. I'm sorry.
What do you mean? Zay Jones is playing the slot position. Trevor Lawrence can't throw an out route anymore.
Oh,
Stop it.
Yeah. Saying, I mean, I go back. I only say that because now as a Titans fan, I've been able to watch some of the highlights from Calvin Ridley, and he's getting thrown out to the sidelines.
Well,
and I'm saying,
you know Odell's dad over here. My son's wide open.
I'm just saying. You'll see, man. I'm telling you, I've been saying this. He's not the golden boy, and he's regressed since his injury. And then on defense, now this is the big question mark because I don't know who the hell is going to stop the run. Jeffrey Simmons is going to be completely alone with Harold Landry. So inside linebacker, you grab Kenneth Murray. That guy is not going to wear the green dot.
Yeah.
Right now, that guy's job is just to run forward.
I promise
He's not a
wasn't
backer,
it was
though.
not the intention for this show to attack every Oklahoma player of all time.
Yeah, he's not bad though.
I
Like
promise.
he'll be a good athlete to have on the field
Yeah,
as a
right?
backer. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just exactly run straight. That's all your job is to blitz and run at the running back. You're not going to be in coverage. You're not wearing the green dot. You're not doing any of that.
Kelly sent some pictures of the Buffalo Wild Wings peeps.
Oh, people there.
Yeah. She said there's like 100 or something. That's cool.
Well,
Hopefully you guys are enjoying your wings. We don't have a Buffalo Wild Wings in Canada anymore. They shut them all down.
Yeah.
We didn't know how to treat it right.
No, we did not.
Yeah. One day we'll get it back.
Nah.
No, we won't.
No.
Lemon pepper.
Yeah. It slapped. I don't even know what that means. Sounds uncomfortable. Well, yeah, we're on your Tennessee. I'm just getting a beer behind you.
We're on to
You keep-
Tennessee.
Anyway,
You
so
keep
we talked
talking
about getting
Tennessee.
Kenneth Murray. So,
Do they have
hope-
Buffalo Wild Wings in Tennessee? Probably.
I would assume so. So you get Kenneth Murray and then Cheeto, Awuzie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that you don't like Cincinnati Bengals, but are you willing to respect Cheeto a little bit as a corner? I think he's pretty good.
I thought the only I thought the only thing that the Bengals really had going for them the last few years, and I mean the Burrow stuff has kind of turned it around, was their defense.
And their secondary specifically was
Yeah.
pretty good, right?
I mean, the problem is they just didn't respect their secondary, and now they all play for different teams.
Different teams, yeah. So I'm excited for him to be there instead of Christian Fulton. I am going to miss Murphy Bunting. He went to Arizona.
Oh, yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah, he was aggressive. My description of Murphy Bunting is he'll give you 110% every single play.
You know,
but
gets you 110
80
for the penalties.
Yeah, 80% of the time, I know that's going to be a pass interference call,
He's
unfortunately.
a little too
He means
Yeah. He's great in the run. He's a great blitzing corner, and he can be feisty. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a lot of breakups, which is crazy for a guy who's so aggressive. He doesn't get a lot of
He's
breakups.
pretty long too, so
Yeah.
that's surprising. He has like a length as a DB, which
Yeah, well, I
sometimes
lost
can
him
be good.
and Carlton Davis to you and you. So
So yeah, I
CD.
missed that. I like the Cheeto pickup, and we got Andrews Pete visiting this week. So hopefully another offensive lineman. I'll just take as many as we can, and we'll cut down on training camp day.
Pete also has another team on his list of visits, and that is Pittsburgh.
Ooh,
And I don't think that he would sign with Pittsburgh only because they're not going to guarantee him a starting spot. I think if he signs with you guys, he gets a starting position.
that's the thing. He played guard for the last 6 years, and he's not
But
playing guard for Tennessee.
well, and that's the thing.
Tackle maybe, but Bill Callahan can coach anybody into position, right? So
See what he's got. Someone said that you paid 22 million for a wide receiver too.
who said that?
what's the name of that person?
I think it was Shane. Yeah, it was in the chat. I don't know. I just saw it. All right. There's been a lot of running backs floating around. So I think it was Sauce Gardner put out there that it seems like he's playing Madden on franchise mode, and they did a fantasy draft with all the different faces that are kind of switching around. So a lot of running backs. Obviously, you already talked about Derrick Henry. No one gives a shit. Baltimore sucks. Um, but Philly getting Saquon and then Tiki Barber's emotional response to it. I know that of course I didn't even need to look at Chad. He's already got a big smile on his face. I knew that you'd have a smile on your face. Like, how much do you hate Tiki Barber right
He's a
now?
piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like all he wants to do is be his brother. That's it. He's a loser.
Yeah. At least one of them got in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And
But, like, I don't know if I'm Saquon. Like, other than the fact that I guess you could say Philly's still a contender. Why would you go to a team that you're not getting the ball on the goal line? You don't understand this. It makes no fucking sense to me. If I'm a running back, I want to get touchdowns.
It's a
And
weird.
if you're in Philly, it's not happening.
I think he just wants to win. I think that's kind of his like. He's like, oh, this is my best chance to win. It's the best
There's so many other
offense
teams
setup.
you go to.
Oh, 100%. But I'm just saying, like, I think that's where, and it's a division rival. I don't know if it's a little bit like, hey, Giants, now I'm going to see you twice a year, and you're really going to see. I don't know, but I think he does well. But like you said, like he's not going to score many touchdowns. He better stay healthy because who else do they have in that backfield? As we saw last year when Swift is usually like an injury-prone guy. They had no one else to step up. They were a one-dimensional offense, and that's what really costed them even against the Bucks. One-dimensional. You guys said, okay, we're going to lock down your pass, and it was a pretty bad clinic against them in that game.
Yeah, we abuse them.
yeah, so I mean Barkley goes that way. Then probably the most shocking news that came out for me on like the first day was Josh Jacobs goes to the Packers, and then simultaneously the Packers cut Aaron Jones, which I don't understand that one. They bring back AJ Dillon, so now they got two guys that are just going to hammer the line.
Yeah.
Is Josh Jacobs really an upgrade over Aaron Jones?
Younger.
Yeah, and he's more expensive now too. Well, I guess maybe equally as expensive. I don't know.
Aaron Jones had a big contract.
Yeah, I guess he just signed it like in the last couple of years, right?
Yeah, and I think that this might be one of those two where you sign a big contract. He played well, didn't necessarily live up to the contract, but then as a franchise, you think back to yourself and you say, "You fucking burned me for that. That's what you give me. How about I pay the same guy somewhere else that's going to do what you're giving to me already, maybe a little bit more. I don't know what I'm going to get out of him. I know what I'm going to get out of you, and it's not what I'm paying you for."
Isn't
Right.
it's kind of weird that Oakland would actually, or not Oakland, Vegas would let him out of there. For the amount of money, it was 4 years to 48, right? So I mean, you're looking at 12 a year.
That's a lot of money for a running back, though. I wouldn't pay that up either.
No,
Not on a second contract, I think, or a third or whatever.
I think it's a second. Like he's
It's a
going
second,
into
yeah.
his sixth year.
Last year was the franchise year.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
the
so he's
final
going
year,
into
yeah.
his sixth year, or maybe his seventh, because if he had his
so
fifth year
to me,
option.
like you're already.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would
Like, I
say
love
that
running
he
backs. I love running the ball, but you're not going to pay them. Like, why would you? You can get younger, faster, and stronger every single year. Outside of Derrick Henry, he might be the only one that like stood up to the time of like the test of time.
and that's like partially like his longevity isn't has not like this isn't a shot at Derrick Henry, by the way. He didn't really play for the first couple of years that he was in Tennessee.
And he didn't take hits.
Yeah, and that's what I mean.
He went to the ground.
And when you get whatever, like he got maybe 100 carries for like his first 2.5 years, like per year, not like total.
yeah.
So when you have that kind of stuff going on, you preserve your legs, and then you get paid because obviously he has an explosive like third and fourth year when it's time to pay the guy because he was a second round pick.
Well,
No,
it's
Yeah,
because he had
second round.
900 carries a season in high school. So
yeah,
they don't
Only,
let him
only
rest up.
player to have 2,000 in every league: high school, college, and NFL. Isn't that
Wow.
crazy?
Josh Connor says hi.
and Rick
Conrad.
says that he doesn't think that the Eagles can do the tush push without Kelsey, and he's probably right on
I don't
that.
know. Chelsea weighed about 270 pounds. I'm sure they could get another 300-pound center and go
But
forward.
he might be arguably Kevin Mulway. I think is probably the next best center from Jason Kelsey. I can't think of like the next center that I would put after Mulway in the last 20 years. Like I can't.
Pouncey's?
Actually, maybe Pouncey. Yeah,
Pouncey was pretty good. I mean,
Yeah,
just
I could see Pouncey up there. Yeah,
he'll be a first
yeah,
ballot.
he
Yeah.
like he was a crook too.
yeah. But
Don't get me wrong.
But Kelsey, I don't know, just something about Kelsey. I think because of him being there for Jalen's rookie year and hearing him check out of plays and be like, absolutely not, no, go back to whatever play was originally called, kind of thing. I just think he's such an intelligent person, and I think because he's not going to disappear from the limelight, I think he's always going to be one of those recency bias things, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I don't know. Overall, like I have no problem paying a running back if it's going to be one of the only positions you're paying. Right now, they're not paying the quarterback. They're not paying their receivers because they're all young.
Who's
Not
this?
the Packers.
Oh, Packers, yeah.
Chad was
I
just saying
hate the
like he wouldn't pay them
Packers.
12 months. Like if you're not paying anybody and you have the ability to get a little bit better, if you think Josh Jacobs gets you over the hump and beats the 49ers, for example, then I think you have to do it. Like what's the difference between 9 and 12 million when you have 80 in cap space? I'm pretty sure they're still paying Aaron Rodgers more than anybody else on the team.
hmm
So you go out, you make that deal. Hopefully your defense can hold up, who played okay down the stretch. And yeah, I mean, Jacobs he's been told or he's been kind of like characterized as soft. We'll see if he can if he's getting tackled in December and January in Green
What
Bay.
about natural grass? So that was the big thing, right? So
That yeah, that would be another big
and
thing.
like
In a
outside
D-
of Detroit, I guess Minnesota has that. Are they natural grass in Minnesota indoors?
No,
no,
no.
they're turf, and
Yeah.
same with Detroit.
I knew Detroit was. I didn't know if
Yeah.
Minnesota.
Vegas and
fans-
Arizona, I think, are the only ones that are indoor that wheel it in still.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think that Dallas is. Tennessee won't be. They'll be doing turf when they have the indoor.
Oh,
too.
really?
Yeah,
Eh?
they're doing coconut turf right now already.
And with
Yeah,
DJ
grass.
Reader
I
in
thought
that
everybody's
division.
going back to that like indoor, like
Nah, that's the big argument. They got this new turf, the coconut turf, that they said is supposed to 25% or 30% less injuries.
I
Well,
think
it all
everything should be
comes down
grass.
to
so like to like
money,
current
right?
turf or like or to like compared to grass.
Compared to the current turf that the NFL had been using.
So still not safer than grass.
Yeah,
Way to
yeah,
go, guys!
Yeah.
Cheers, guys!
Yeah,
Everything should
but
be
you don't
played
got to
on
pay
grass.
anybody to upkeep it.
Yeah,
And
well, we talked about this. I think it was about 5 weeks ago when they had the announcement that the World Cup for soccer is going to be in New York, and they're going to put natural grass down to play.
Yeah.
But then they have turf for football.
Like,
Yeah.
how are you? Like, how do you play in New York and say, "I'm going to stay here"?
Yeah,
Like, you care more about soccer than you guys that you're paying millions of dollars.
yeah.
well, what was the last big name that stayed in New York? Michael Strahan. Like,
Lie.
well, yeah, I mean,
Plaques.
but he wasn't.
Victor
Is that
Cruz.
pre or post trigger?
Oh, he was a New York guy. Then
That was a
Baker.
Spartan that turned into Steeler that went to New York to shoot himself in the leg. I guess he won a couple Super Bowls too.
Yeah.
He made a couple big plays. It wasn't bad.
He definitely won the Super Bowl that one year.
Yeah.
But what a change of events for Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs, right? Like I still don't think that Green Bay's got a lot of room to gain still, but
Yeah.
they're definitely far and ahead the Raiders right now, and the Raiders are still a team to be fun to watch because they're in Vegas, and you never know what they're going to have up their sleeve, right?
Yeah.
And they're just in cap hell right now. That's all it is.
Well, and you don't get out of that until
Unless you're the
yeah,
Saints.
yeah. You got. I don't know how the Saints keep doing it, and even the Chargers. Like the Chargers bring in Harbaugh, and they have all these high hopes, and they think he's the guy that's going to turn all this shit around.
Still the
But
same
like,
ownership.
And look at all the like stuff that they had to do. Like you don't have Austin Eckler anymore, and you replaced him with Gus Edwards. Okay, that doesn't feel equal. That's not
No.
apples for apples.
Yeah.
And
Your starting wide receiver is Jalen Gunton. I can
yeah,
really
and you couldn't hold on.
Josh Palmer's there, good Canadian kid.
Yeah.
You couldn't hold on
So you
to
want to go
Keenan
off
Allen.
about Calvin Ridley, but you won't give Josh Palmer's flowers. Let's see how
Palmer's
it
been good in his actual like time where he's been playing. It's
Yeah.
just if he's
Not gonna
healthy.
play.
They must not be
And Quinton
willing to throw the ball anymore.
Yeah.
Because they
They
cut
better.
Mike.
They better.
They cut Mike Williams.
Yeah.
And they moved Keenan Allen for I don't know, not as much as they probably would think that they would get for him.
Mhm.
The only saving grace that they had was Bosa and Mac were willing to restructure their deals, or they'd be fucked right now.
Yeah.
If they had to
Yeah.
cut all those guys,
Yeah.
like at least you have a couple guys that can slow people down. But
you get for bringing a loser in for a head coach.
yeah, and the Chargers did not get better.
Talking about cap hell, I read this NFL conspiracy theory that one of the reasons why the Packers never go all in on big name wide or free agents is because if they have to do the SAP or cap circumvention that the Saints have to pull every single year, that the fans would find out that there is no actual cap. The cap is just a myth.
Is it because all the city owns all attend the meeting?
Yeah, all the
The whole
stock.
population. By the way, you can buy a house in Green Bay for like next to nothing.
Yeah,
There's a couple blocks of the stadium for like $300,000.
Well, Jordan Love better enjoy his time there now because I don't think he's gonna be very good in his whole career. Strong take.
interesting.
Wow,
Strong
wow.
take. I was waiting for it. That's why I was smirking. I didn't want to say anything, but like
divisional
gotta
hate
say
over
it.
there. I think maybe.
Yeah, it is.
You
The,
think
it-
Jordan Love's not there?
I know.
They're
I just
saying-
don't think.
they're
I just
saying
don't
Aaron
think he's
too.
very good. Like I just. I
Stop
don't
it.
think. I don't.
Stop it.
I want to see more.
You know what? You're
So-
uninvited.
So you don't think that at the end of this year, or maybe even this offseason, he's getting $30 million a year?
He's getting 30.
Oh, he's gonna get paid, but they're gonna overpay him because he's. I just don't see him as that guy. I can make that
Now,
claim.
I
and
need to counter that by saying there's a lot that's been said about your quarterback in the same regard. And what's he making?
he's making good money, but who made the
Well,
NFC
30
Championship?
million.
Also,
I think
too-
you're the one to say 4 years ago, 5 years ago. I
Just
said
wait
your
till
boy wasn't
Jordan
the
Love
guy.
starts turning over the ball. Jared Goff doesn't turn over the ball, so that's the type of quarterback the Lions need to have in that system. Jordan Love is gonna. He thinks he has all these. Like he does have some decent weapons.
There's not one weapon
But-
on that team.
You can't.
Oh, Jaden Reed.
Jaden Reed. Yeah, Jaden Reed's pretty
6'7"
good
or whatever, how
receiver.
tall he is, a big
And
boy.
then Christian
he's like-
Watson's healthy. Romeo Dukes.
Christian Watson, that's the one that's the big
He has
one.
guys to
Yeah.
throw. He has guys to throw to. But what I'm saying is like
He was the
I think
third
he's
wide
going to
receiver in
regress
the
from
NFC.
the end of last year. I believe he's going to regress from the end of last year. There's a game that I'll bring it up. They played Brett Rippon at home
Toronto.
in Green Bay against the Rams, and he looked like absolute dog shit. And I can never get that game out of my mind and say this guy is now going to come in the NFL and be good for the rest of his career. I think he regressed. I think he's going to regress this season. That's my take this year. I always come with strong takes. He's going to regress coming into next year. Like that's just
He's been
how it is.
saving this since last time he was here.
And for Josh Jacobs, I hope he meets DJ Reader in the whole week 1 or whenever week we play them. I don't know what week we play them yet, but
No one
Whatever
knows.
it is.
The schedule's not
I
out.
know it's not out. I
Yeah,
know the
that's it.
opponents are out, so we'll see
You
him
know, you're
twice.
playing Tampa in Detroit. Yeah. And we're gonna fucking dunk on you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Carlton Davis gonna get how many catches letting up to Mike Evans? What's better right now? Let's bet it right now.
Mike
How many
Evans over under?
catches Mike Evans over under in that game?
We're at 6.5.
All right, I'm taking the under. You can take the over. And
What's
do
the
something.
confidence of the team like right now going into the new season?
for Detroit,
Yeah.
well, it's a
It
Super
can't be
Bowl.
high.
Oh, it's pretty high. Like last year, I
As long
came
as they
on
don't
to
get a lead. Like,
last
that's the
year I
thing.
came on and said all the great things we've been doing, and I think it's been the same this year. We haven't really gave up much draft capital. We gave up 1 third-round pick. We already had 2, so you can give up that one, let
Yeah.
that be. You re-signed Graham Glasgow, which I don't think people give him the grace that he deserves. I mean, Detroit fans do. They go, well, we lost Jonah Jackson. Well, look at what we paid Graham Glasgow and look what we paid Jonah Jackson. There's a big difference there. And Jonah Jackson was hurt all last year. Graham Glasgow played every game and even played center when Ragnow was out. When you have a guy that can play anywhere on that center to guard spot, that's very versatile and could really do some damage for you. So you cleared up the O-line there, and Kalen had just announced, and I didn't know until being here that they signed Zeitler from Baltimore, who will automatically start in that left guard spot. Maybe they drafted a guy, but I think that's more of a depth thing. And then like to stay on the offensive side of the ball, we haven't really done much more other than that. So obviously, Dave Montgomery, Jameer Gibbs, are your backs. Goff with Hooker behind him, which like, I like that. It's better than spot than we were in last year. When I was here last year talking around this time, we were saying that the Lions need to address at least a backup spot, if not a guy to come in to be better than Jared Goff. If Jared
Teddy Two
Goff can't say,
Gloves
yeah,
walks away.
yeah, he's done. I mean, Hendon Hooker, they have high hopes that he can be that backup we need him to be. And then receivers wise, Monra, Jameson Williams. There's still a guy out there, Josh Reynolds. I'm not sure. I see them. They could bring him back just on like a really low deal.
No,
Unless
I think he's gonna get some money
you
somewhere.
think he's gonna get some like that's what I've heard. But I've heard that they also too with that receiver class being so deep, that that's where they look like second roundish. Xavier Legette from South Carolina is a guy I've heard a lot of. Um, Devontae Walker from North Carolina. And inconsistent hands bother me when you already have a guy. Like I don't want that. You need a high point guy, 6'3", 6'2", guy that can fly and absolutely just go up in the end zone and grab the ball. And then we'll get to the defense quick here because I don't want to go on forever. Like,
No one cares for the Lions. Just
well, yeah.
Well,
fantasy.
Yeah.
This, hey,
we are their region.
The two receivers that I like in the draft are A.D. Mitchell and Keon Coleman.
Keon Coleman's another guy too at 6'4" that I could, but I don't think we have like if you're not picking him in the first round and you go that edge rusher to pair up with Aiden Hutchinson, then I think you're not probably getting Keon Coleman. That's just
Yeah, it's unlikely he slips out of the first.
and like I think there's going to be a run of receivers, so that could be like once you see one or two go, it's going to go boom, 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 boom because everyone's going to be worried about
It's
getting
gonna
that
go
next guy.
quarterback, receiver, tackle.
Yeah, and that's what it looks
I
like.
don't think Ricky can throw stones here.
What's happening?
He just says the Lions can't go back to back. He's like that guy can't throw stones.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
Like most people doubted us even
We got
last year.
Gardner Minshew.
No, I do. We gave some shout out earlier to Aaron Donald, and I read a pretty cool story today after the retirement announcement. Was that the scout that fought tooth and nail to draft Aaron Donald to the Rams is the assistant general manager for the Lions now, and so that just goes to show the guy knows how to read the talent. And
Yep.
listen,
Why do you got to tell Josh these things?
because he's
annoying.
was it 2 years ago with the draft we sat here and we saw two Lions fans basically crying at the
That's
draft
phenomenal.
while the Titans fan cried for his own reasons. But like but now we're looking back on those two drafts. They were amazing.
If you name the guys,
They're all starters.
and that's the other thing. Like people don't like when we drafted. Well, Gibbs, we'll leave Gibbs out of it just because of offense. Jack Campbell, everyone was like, "Oh, Jack Campbell, we drafted a linebacker in the first round." The guy's a stud, and they filled the linebacker need. Now, like Shane said, you can't go. It's gonna be hard to go DB in the first round. But Brian Branch, people don't talk about him. You got Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph.
They sue all over top of Justin Fields, right?
Yeah, it's crazy to think that the Lions have actually produced like that. It is like when people say they're not making it. Like, I mean, I get why you would say that just because of their history, but I don't know.
They're not bought
The
talent.
No,
difference is
there's
you
no
guys
bought
stop
talent.
drafting
Detroit.
sexy and you draft for what you need.
Yeah, and the same was in free agency. You can go to say that we stopped overpaying guys and bringing in guys on short-term deals and hopefully having them buy in and play for us. And whether we re-sign them or not, that's kind of where we'll see what happens because it's a new. You haven't really had to see the GM make decisions on guys that came in as free agents to either let go or bring in. So I think I'm not sure if you guys know about Meek Robertson that they signed from the Raiders. Not many people
I'm sure Ricky will tell us. about
not
it.
many people know him, but I think he's a bigger signing, and hopefully, say he's going to be a bigger signing than people think as a DB. You got Carlton Davis. I think you slide Sutton in as the 3 and Amik Robertson as the 2, and then with Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch up high. Does that not look? The biggest question that you guys could probably give me last year was our secondary. No, when you get Kendall Vildor and Sutton as starting at DBs.
Don't worry about them. We're passionate about our teams, Josh.
Is it not though?
The secondary was trash last year.
Exactly. Do you not think they've upgraded the secondary?
I would say the secondary going into last year was trash. I still wouldn't say the secondary was trash throughout the year. They certainly gained some ground. Now, losing Gardner Johnson, I don't care what you say.
He's a loser.
There's some sweat. He's a mouthpiece. I don't like the mouth that he has on him, but he certainly can produce on the field.
He can, but he can't though. Like if you actually like, he was in. Well, he broke his pec or whatever it was. Like that's unfortunate. But the Eagles paid him a lot of money, so He can have fun there. I don't know. Like,
Like he talks a lot of shit for a guy who wouldn't start on a lot of teams.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think the thing came down to too with Branch. I think that's the spot they want
You
him
don't
playing
think
free
he'd start
safety.
on a lot of teams?
I think he's fucking horrible.
His age and his athleticism alone, I think, gets him a
I mean,
starting
he did
role
take
on
a
60%
stupid
of the
fucking
NFL.
penalty against the San Fran. He
Yeah.
get a fucking pick, and this guy goes and hits Debo Samuel for no reason. Like, why don't you grow a brain?
I think if you took away what he says, his tweeting and his attitude with the media and everything, I don't think that you would have the hate on him that you do. I think as a player, he's
Yeah, you shine the spotlight on yourself, and people are going to
yeah,
judge you.
exactly. You
No,
expect,
what it
you
is,
expect
man.
to be a top 10. He's not a top 10, but he's certainly like 60% elite.
He's fun to
He's
watch.
fucking
He's fun to watch.
75% of the way to beat Antonio Brown.
Oh,
Now,
who is hilarious lately, by the way.
we have a few minutes, and we didn't talk about the draft, which is fine. We got lots of time to talk about the draft, but there are still some like big name remaining free agents. So, who do you, as you know, we'll just say our teams because we have 4 minutes here. Who is the remaining free agent that you hope your team signs, or that you think they're going to sign? Not before the draft, but before training camp starts, most likely.
I don't know, man. I don't follow that closely. Y'all know that. I'm not gonna pretend that I do.
Well, what position are you looking for?
We need an edge rusher. I don't think there's anybody left.
There's definitely not like there's
So,
lots of,
You know who's some
there's lots of depth.
Aaron Lynch. He had a workout today with a team, and that's somebody that's like a low investment but high reward. But remember him? He
Yeah.
went and started a private business.
They
I
have
guess.
nobody that can get to the quarterback. That's one of my biggest.
Bud Dupree
And-
is out there, but he's talking about coming back to
So
Pittsburgh.
is Clowney.
Yeah, well, I don't want either of those two idiots.
Yeah, Clowney's looking for the run.
My whole thing is like, we can't draft anybody in the 20s to be a elite pass rusher. So I wish that's something we would have addressed. That's all I really
It is a
wanted.
really deep class for pass rushers, though. So, like, if you have second and third round picks, which it sounds like you got an extra from the Lions, if you can take that Carlton Davis trade and turn it into a starting edge rusher, I think that you'd be okay.
That was like my one big things we needed.
You don't really have money to spend either, so I guess you're in like a tough.
We had about we had to pay our offense to get them all back. I knew that was going to happen.
It's not a kicker, to be honest. I don't think Bagley's that guy. So whoever's out there, pick up one of them.
Oh, I rode that wave of the kicker wanting a different kicker for 3.5 years, man. I'm so happy with Nick Folk.
Or Josh
And
Reynolds.
they just
Yeah.
re-upped him.
Re-upped him, yeah.
And yours is a little bit more unique, right? Because he's not a free agent right now.
Oh yeah. Oh, you know where I'm going with this one. I want Snead so bad, so bad.
I know our group chat tells us daily.
So,
Remember like Otani watch?
yeah.
That's what happens with Snead.
So are we
If he takes
thinking
a
like
shit, Kalen
Snead's
knows.
not a first round pick, right?
Really?
You're giving up your second round pick and something, or your third
Well, we
round
don't have
pick?
a third, so apparently the rumor was that they wanted a third, but we don't have a third, so it would probably have to be some form of a second this year, which is realistically like if we go tackle in the first round, all you would want in the second is a wide receiver. But Calvin really kind of shored that up, so we need a corner. Like
So you're willing to give up your second pick, which is probably like a top 40 pick,
yeah, 32
and then
or sorry, 34.
and then 25 million a year
Yeah, well, if that's the number, yeah,
for
I'm okay.
probably 5 years.
Yeah.
4 years, 5
Yeah.
years. Yeah, I don't know. It seems like a lot.
The cap's just raising. We got a lot of dead money coming off of the cap next year. We already not
Yeah.
a ton of cap this year as it is right now, but we're talking to player guys that like I know he doesn't have the name, the funky
I
name.
think he's a stud. I'm not going to say he's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah. This guy in Man
25 million scares me for positions that aren't quarterbacks. I don't care what, like, it's
You know what's
tackles,
crazy?
edge rushers, and quarterbacks. Outside of that, none of you are worth 25 million.
What's crazy about that is
I don't care who you are.
we've had the conversation, and you've said it many times, is that I will take a skill position in the first round to get that fifth-year option. The fifth-year option on a corner right now is $19.3 million. There is no way in hell that a corner is going to say, I'm going to play for 19.3 or even a hair over that if I'm looking for my second and my next biggest contract. It's going to get you paid. You have to settle that 22 to 25 mil. The cap went up $38.5 million this past offseason, so you're still going to have 15 left over from what it went up if you're going to pay him that.
I said that about quarterbacks for the record.
Well, no,
Well, I mean, really,
you did say
any
wide
real
receivers the fifth year is important, and the corners the fifth year is important too.
for receivers, it's
Edge.
important because you don't want to rush them onto the field
Yeah,
unless they're ready.
and at the
And-
same time, but the money that we're just looking at right now. Christian Kirk, it's $22.5 million, and you say he's not a wide receiver too, but you can go and get your Justin Jefferson and get him on a fifth-year option, paying less than Calvin Ridley.
Well, I mean, Justin Jefferson has already got paid, right? He got paid
Yeah,
after his third
he's-
year.
Yeah, but when that's an example of a wide receiver that you were able to
Yeah,
take and
yeah.
get that fifth year out of, right?
Yeah, I mean, for us, like, I think that injuries played a lot of factors in the back end of the secondary. So I'd bring in Justin Simmons, another Denver Bronco guy that got cut, pair him up with a guy like Minka Fitzpatrick. You just brought in Deshaun Elliott. and you got a couple other like Deontay Casey is there, who you could cut and save $3 million, but you know you got those four guys running around your secondary. You're not injury proof, but you're a lot more stable if Minka's running down the field and it looks like it's hitting the back of the leg with a baseball bat.
You got depth, so that's like
Yeah.
that's football's a lot about depth too, is what we see. So I don't know. That's
Yeah, they met. They said that the price was too high. I mean, overall, I don't give a fuck about anything cap related because I don't have to pay the bill. You just don't want to have to open up the season with no cap room like a team like the Cowboys or the Saints or any of that kind of shit. Um, yeah. You guys have anything else? Why don't we do one prediction for who's winning March Madness and then we'll wrap this thing up. You can pick anybody you want, Chad. I guarantee you'll pick somebody. Uh,
I watch one sport. Is the problem?
yeah.
I'm gonna go with Auburn.
Okay. I mean,
Auburn. Yeah,
S-
they've been
SEC
playing really
champion, they
good.
score a lot
Yeah,
of points. Yeah.
they've been playing really good. Another team like I said, I'm not saying they're gonna win the tournament that might like win a few games is James Madison. I would look out for them. They do have a tough first round matchup,
Well,
but
the thing that's nice about them is they're a 12 seed, and you know the
yes.
12 seeds
Yeah.
always move on somewhere.
Yeah, so I think them too, but they're not going to win the tournament. So those will be like kind of like a team that's a Cinderella story that might go far, and then Auburn, who's been proving themselves, they're a 4 seed, I think could win the tournament.
Chad,
Well, we're going with Kansas because that's the only team I know.
Kansas is very injured right
Yes.
now, but
What?
Kansas is very
Those
injured right now, but
jailbirds,
they
bro.
are in. They're a 4 seed as well.
You call them jailbirds?
Yo,
Yeah.
Jayhawks.
Oh, I thought you were
All
going.
right.
That's what Texas called the
I
jailbirds.
thought you were going somewhere else. With this.
Where are you going? Who are you thinking?
Fighting Illini.
Okay. I mean, another team that
You know
can
that I was a
score.
D Brown fan back in high school.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make their team any better this year, but I appreciate what you're saying.
I liked them.
Team to watch out for is Kentucky. Kentucky only recruits 5-star guys, and they played crazy down the stretch. They were an unranked team at certain points of the season. They have climbed their way into like a 3 or 4 seed right now, and they're going to make a lot of noise. And I believe that they're also paired up with Purdue, and we all know how Purdue does in these kind of things. So when that's your 1 seed, you almost have a clean path. I would say I would.
You're really counting Purdue out that quick, eh?
Oh, they suck.
yeah.
What,
I
what
would.
are they though? Have they won?
Yeah, which,
They're like the fourth 1 seed though. If I would,
They're for one C, 1D kind of thing.
No
they're
depth.
1D.
Yeah.
No
If
depth.
I was a betting man, and I am, I would say Kentucky in the Final Four, and then I would also just throw I can't say the one word. I'll throw a sprinkle onto them to just go ahead and win the whole tournament outright. But watch out for Michigan State because they got in for the 26th straight year.
I thought you were gonna say NC State. I thought you were gonna give them some love.
No, those guys just had a good weekend. That's all for us. We will be back, I believe. I don't know what day, but we'll be back definitely before the draft and then after the draft to kind of piece things together and see where that goes. You never know who's going to sign. Everybody's 0-0 right now. Everyone's got a Super Bowl chance. Everyone's got a chance to make the playoffs, even Tennessee. And we will see
only two
everyone
guys
next
here
week.
have won Super Bowls, though.
True. We'll get there.
We didn't say that to you.